can see it. October I got, bro.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Automotive Training News with your host, Mr. Richie Bello. I'm your co-host, Eric Nichols. Today we have Mr. Sean Kelly, CEO of Car Motivators, with us. Sean works with dozens of dealer groups, automotive tech companies, and hundreds of coaching clients from coast to coast. We also have Mr. Dave Castillo with us, Director of Veteran Affairs for the Richie Bell Institute of Leadership Management back. We'll have him on with us later on Skype. What's going on, Sean? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Eric and Richie? How are you guys doing today?
Good, my friend. Good. We want to first thank you for coming on the show. You know, we've been watching you for a while, and you've definitely come up with a number of different strategies for dealerships to go to the next level. And we look forward to hearing about it today.
I wish I could be in the studio with you in New York.
Of course. Yeah, like we said, next time you're in New York, you're always more than welcome. Stop on down. We'll have a great session. Richie, what do you got for us today?
So, you know what, I wanted to talk to you. I mean, the training business went from live training, all these different associations trained, then the online training came in, and all the online training thing came in for was one reason only. That was to help our training that was live have credibility. So there's an inspection process. Because the dealer would say, okay, guys, great, I'll hire you for X, Y money, but what's going to happen when you leave here? Oh, we have this. So the trainers that had the online stuff was very successful. Today, I believe that it's just not training and it's just not online. Today is coaching, right? So what you've taken is you've taken that executive business coaching into the level of the salesperson. Is that correct?
Correct. Not just the salesperson, every employee at the dealership. Doesn't matter who you are, you can see a massive benefit from coaching. But yeah, that's 100% correct.
Okay, so let me understand your product first. So if a dealership hires you, right, you'll be their coach of the entire auto group, whether it's service, sales, parts, salesperson, general manager, sales manager. Is that correct?
That's right. So we have a team of coaches, and we have coaches that specialize in each department. Although once you master the language of coaching, you can add value to anyone regardless of their job. But that's correct. We work with everyone at the dealership, from the dealer principal all the way down to the frontline staff. We even have dealerships where we coach the office staff and we coach the detail people.
That's awesome. You know, I should have said it earlier. For those of you just tuning in, Sean, listen, he's no stranger to the automotive industry. You were, Consultant of the Year in 2018 for Dealership News and ranked number 10 in Ambition.com. Top 100 sales coaches. You've had presentations in almost every major automotive conference out there. We know that your vision has really positively impacted the leadership landscape and culture of the automotive industry by bringing coaching to the car business. What I want to do now is, before we continue our conversation, I just want to go to a quick clip of you and show everybody exactly what Car Motivators does.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Sean Kelly with Car Motivators. After returning from Iraq and leaving special operations, the auto industry has been extremely rewarding. In fact, the car business has been a fun and exciting place to build a career, a brand, provide for my family, and help others achieve their ideal vision of success. I believe our industry provides these great opportunities for millions of people, and I want to ensure that those lucky enough to be a part of it understand both the opportunity and the threats that could take it all away. That way, others can enjoy the same career fulfillment, and these possibilities continue for generations. I do this by helping automotive leadership achieve great results through their people and technology with a unique approach to coaching and people development. I partner with leaders who believe in both personal and team growth. Leaders that understand for growth to occur, change must be made. We must upgrade the way we lead our people just as we upgrade a computer or our dealership's technology. Car Motivators takes industry best practices and makes them real and relevant to your dealership. My team has a vast array of knowledge, experience, and each creates immediate coaching wins for you by coaching excellence into each member of your team. Enough wins over time forge unstoppable champions at every layer in your organization. Together, we can create a winning culture. Winning cultures take ownership and succeed despite market conditions and regardless of other external factors. I look forward to learning more about you, your dealership, your unique challenges, and determine if we can work together to improve your results by focusing on the 4 pillars that make a dealership extremely healthy. We can make that determination together.
You know, Sean, first and foremost, I always want to thank you for your service as a vet. As you know, we had a discussion before live about vets and how I'm a former Navy vet, your Army. This show is very big into veterans for the purpose of Richie has his institute that's helping veterans when they get out, now training them to really go into the automotive industry. And we just launched that on the 6th. So that's a lot. But really, again, we want to thank you for your service and really helping those out there now get into another great industry. Richie, what do you got?
Well, you know, Sean, the good thing about you is that this is something that's needed in the car business, right? And here's why it's needed, because the productivity increases with a coach, right? Because it's a coach is really making people aware. Awareness is key, because once you're aware, then you're able to make your decision, and the coach helps them with that process, which awareness is key. If you don't see something, you don't know, but you make them aware. Now it's up to them, and then you have a follow-up process, is that correct, to execute it?
Yeah, that's right. And I also would like to thank you for what you're doing for veterans. As you know, as a veteran who got out of the military and was kind of struggling as a civilian, the automotive industry, really helped. So I love the fact that you're trying to help veterans and help the auto industry. It's a great fit. So keep that up, man. And yes, as far as the coaching, right? It's one. I always say training is like getting a shiny car, right? You get this shiny car. It's exciting. It's like the foundation to get you. You need the car. It's the vehicle to get you where you want to go. You need the right skills to get you where you want to go. But training's the car. So what is coaching? Coaching is like putting oil in the engine, fuel in the tank, making sure the car continues to run long term. And ultimately, we all know that you can't run a car very far without oil, right? And a lot of times people learn a new skill or they receive training, and what happens is they go to try to implement the training, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work. Maybe they didn't execute it properly, or maybe that they just had bad luck with a customer, and then they might throw it out the window and stop using it, right? So where the coaching comes in, the maintenance, so to speak, we're following up and checking in with them at whatever increment they want and need, and we're asking them, hey, did that plan work? Did that training you received work? When they say it didn't, we coach them on it, and we figure out the reason it didn't work, and we help them try their strategy again, and we'll continue that cycle until it works, or we find a better way for them to get the results they want.
What do you think really differentiates that from, say, traditional training?
Gotcha. Yeah. So the training is, again, it's the foundation of knowledge that you need in order to get results. But training only helps. So there's four things that need to be answered before someone will execute or take action. Right? They have to know how to do it. Right? Can I do it? They have to want to do it. They have to need to do it, and then they have to decide to do it. Right? So training really is just the can I do it, but will I? Do I want to do it? Do I need to do it? And will I do it? That's where the coaching comes in. That's simple, and that can be for around anything, man. Now sometimes coaching will identify that there's training needed, and then it'll turn into some sort of, hey, well, let's provide you training on that. Other times, for the most part, though, it's mindset. Coaching fixes the mindset, right? We all have limiting beliefs and things that hold us back. And what training doesn't tackle those for the most part. Coaching uncovers missing puzzle pieces. It finds out what they don't know, and it also finds out what they do know that's holding them back. And then you solve those challenges. You give them the missing puzzle pieces. You coach them around their stories, cons, assumptions, and mindsets that are holding them back.
Awesome. No, I definitely agree with you. Made a lot of good, valid points on that. So you're in a ton of dealerships. You're always on the move. You see every different aspect. What do you think really the biggest struggle is that most dealerships have nowadays when you first go into them?
I would just chalk it up to leadership. And I'm not saying anything bad about sales managers or the managers or the owners. When I say leadership, we're all leading the same way that we were taught to lead from the time we got into the car business, which is very militant. You and I can speak to this, right? Leading through blind obedience. Hey, I'm a manager. I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm good at my job. So you should say what I told you to say, and it should work for you, right? Yet managers every day are frustrated because they load their salesperson's lips. They tell them what to go say, and they're like, why won't they say it, right? They follow them to the desk. They listen to the salesperson, and the salesperson doesn't say it. And that's because they're leading through blind obedience. We're telling, selling, yelling. It's a fast-paced. The showroom floor is so fast-paced. And to give you guys line of sight, I was a GSM of the top Hyundai store in St. Louis. We were the only Hyundai store up in a down market for 2 consecutive years after I implemented coaching, and we set first-time regional records. And the one thing that I changed, by the way, and there were other changes, like we got rid of our advertising, but no other positive changes to help us grow our business other than stocking a few more cars. The main thing we changed was the way I led my team. So I stopped telling, selling, and yelling, and I started asking. And I transformed from the problem manager to a sales leader because I mastered the language of coaching. And when I realized the impact it had on my team, I said, I've got to bring coaching to the car business. There's other people that need this, and it will change their lives. So that's why I kind of walked away from that success at my store to do what I do now, which is awesome, rewarding, and successful and fulfilling. I didn't plan on doing it. But to your point, the one thing that could be improved is the way we lead our people. Because every time you give them the answer, solve the problem for them, jump on the grenade, save the deal, and I'm not saying don't TO, don't save deals. I'm just telling you, every time you solve those problems, you're robbing your people of their ability to solve problems themselves, and you're becoming a crud. That's simple.
Yeah, it's almost like a you have to equate it to almost like a child where you're going to keep doing it for it. They're never going to learn on their own. And then they're going to expect you to do it and won't be able to do it.
Can I just add something? And I'm glad you brought up something. Sales managers at the desk load the lips. The problem is the sales managers today don't sell the salespeople. If you're on a sales floor, you got to sell. If you work for a credit company and you're writing loans, when they go to the credit manager, the manager is selling them on the deal, how to take it to the dealer so it makes sense for them. If you're selling on a sales floor, right, you got to sell. As a sales manager, you are the top salesman. You got to sell your people. I go to stores where there's sales managers that really know how to sell and load people's lips, and they go from here to there, don't get up again and come and lay people out. And I'm also in stores where the sales manager's a robot.
Yeah.
So when that salesman tells you, well, why? What's the difference between if I do this and do that? You got to understand, today people are very, very smart more than a decade ago. Okay, we're in a new decade right now. This full decade, people got a lot of knowledge, okay? And that's what's happening today. That's why with the vet program, we have the vets. I have a veteran very connected with the VA. I'm going to get, in any state, I can get any vet because I'm totally complimentary, right? Okay, I'm going to train them. Brandon, all these trainers I have are top-notch. John Fairchild, top-notch trainers. But what happens with that process? What happens with that process is when they go into the workforce, that's the other recipe. What is the other recipe? It's you or a company like yourself. That's why we're looking into your company, right? My team is. Because the reason for that is because that's what you need. The coaching to that person you trained one-on-one. Make them aware because they're going into the real life, okay? I got them. I put them on my light speed. I'll maybe do a workshop. I do a workshop for 30 or 40 of them. Boom, self-funded. I do a workshop. Okay, but then after that workshop, they are graduating from an internship into real live work. There's a big difference between that and a dealer sending you 10 salespeople.
Right.
Okay? So if I don't have all the right structure and infrastructure, I will fail. Without a doubt.
Well, I respect that you're looking to do it and do it right the first time, right?
Sean, it's been 4 years. Actually, 2017, I got the Institute in Arizona with my partners. It's been 4 years. I didn't just do it. I've paid a lot of money in consulting. I've hired a consultant company that's for nonprofits. That's for this. I didn't hit platinum level, right, as a nonprofit on my website in 2019 because there was no work and no effort. I just didn't do a nonprofit and only have a nonprofit. I have a profitable company that is covered for the nonprofit. You know, it's 4 years working on something with really intelligent people. Not me. My team's much more intelligent. They really know what they're doing, okay? Let me just tell you this. I got COOs that are really sharp, like CFAs, like Michael Odenhigh, right? So, and that's just to mention a few of them, Dominic DeLeo, Bart Pellegrino, and the list goes on, very successful people, because you're very easy to fail, you know, and with something like this, of this magnitude, if I don't have the trainers, if I don't have the vets, if I don't have that assessment that's it looks into by a psychologist, if I don't have that, it's not going to work. Because so many others have tried it. Where the product might fall down is, and that's what you bring to the table, you're a great coach. I've been searching you and I've been doing research, and so has Gene, and so has a few members of my team, because that's really, when I walk into a dealership and tell them, this is what we have, okay, it's basically bulletproof, right? Because we have a coach. After the train, he's going to coach him. We have this, we have that. I'm in the market for a coach. That's what my next level is, because I know that without a coach, well, I'm not going to succeed. You know, I have 3 coaches around me all the time from the age that I'm 26 years old. Okay, because that's the only way you're going to succeed. Because you know what? I'm a great visionary, but sometimes my operator says, that's a great vision, but there's no money in it. Being a visionary and executing and making profits and putting profits in your account and getting subscribers to subscribe for your product are 2 different things. Well, you know, and that's what happens with a lot of guys. They have a great vision, unbelievable vision, but that vision, when you share it with a COO that really knows, puts the number and puts the pencil to it and says, listen, this is not working. Now, you got to see what motivated that person to get that vision. What was it? Was it to help out, to make himself look good, or to just make money? People only do it for 3 reasons. Either their ego, money motivates them, or to help out, right? So what motivated them in their head to try it? You know, and that's what I don't want in my company. That's why it's very important to me. The most important thing to me in the last 4 years, the most important thing to me is vets. Because when I do something and I start something, let me tell you, first of all, why we wanted to do the vets. Because my son was going to the military, he chooses not to. So now I already did all the investment and I did everything, so now I'm on it. And I've learned that the vets really are amazing in the car business.
Yeah, I mean, you came out of the military, you developed a process for your company, which I really want to hear a little bit more about, which is it's Drive C3. Is that correct?
Drive C3, yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and how you help dealers increase by 40%, I think, or more you're doing in sales?
Yeah, we have a few dealers that have gone up significantly more than that even. But what it boils down to is that I read a bunch of coaching books when I was at my dealership, and then I started trying to coach people, and it was like reading a manual on a plane, and then trying to fly one. Don't do it, right? You need, coaching is like anything else. It's a skill that needs to be trained on and mastered, and then coached on to master it. And so what I was coaching my sales team, having beating my head against the wall. My veterans were frustrated by it. They were like, Sean, what are we doing? The green peas. I noticed my coaching would just turn into me training them, right? And I realized something, that I had never been coached before. So I reached out to the author of one of the books I read, and I asked him to be my coach. I hired him. He coached me so I could experience effective coaching. And then I started coaching my team, and I was using kind of his coaching process, which is great for corporate America, a little bit different in the car business because of the pace of business and the different levels, the different generational gaps and different levels of success and coaching works. That's the beauty of coaching, right? It will work for your seasoned veteran salespeople or your brand new salespeople or the owner of the company, it doesn't matter, right? Coaching improves anyone, no matter who they are. But going back to the question about the process I created, so Drive C3 trademarked coaching is my coaching framework that I created. And after I had mastered coaching and was making the impact at my dealership, I was like, I guess I was wondering, is coaching only working for my team because they're my employees and they already work for me, right? So I had to coach someone outside of my showroom floor. So all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like a bolt out of the blue, the CEO of my CRM software company stopped by my dealership, and he was stressed out about something, and I coached him through it. Now his company was called Drive Centric. So after that coaching conversation, he was able to make a big improvement for his company that just it changed the game for them. And he asked me if I would be willing to have more conversations like that. And then I explained to him what coaching was. And he was no different than me a couple of years ago. He didn't really know. So I started coaching a software company. That was my first client off the showroom floor. And then in coaching them, I built a coaching framework for their company and for the car business that is extremely effective. But here's what it boils down to. It's every leader's job to know what each of their employees wants most and to help them get it. So what my coaching framework does is it clarifies each person's vision for success. It gets the buy-in. It recruits them to the coaching effort. You're not giving them value they don't need. You guys know, sales veterans, people that have been selling cars for 20 years, they always say the same thing about training. Well, I got like one takeaway, right? And they don't see the margin of return, right? Yep. So coaching is a guaranteed value add because you're going to find out what they do know, what they don't know, and you've got the buy-in and you've earned the right to do it. And then there's the education side, and then there's the follow-up support. Bottom line is this, guys, every single coaching conversation produces action plans, and those action plans to actually get implemented require checking, accountability, support, follow through, and follow up. And everyone needs that accountability buddy. You know from the military, right? We have the battle buddy, but so that's kind of what coaching gives each person on the team. And one of my biggest struggles is that, for coaches, we trade time for money. So it's not scalable, right? So it's really hard to, but I've been able, the last year, I've had so many conversations with salespeople who wanted coaching but couldn't afford our rates. So I had to find a way to make it scalable so we could follow up with everyone. We could give any person at any level of the dealership the ability to receive coaching and figure it out. So that's why I think you and I could help each other grow, Richie.
No, and I see that's one of the biggest things I struggle with myself. Exactly what you said, military mindset. I mean, I've been out of the military well over 10 years now, and it's still the dominance factor is still up here where I'm still trying to learn to be, get the influence a little higher up. So with that being said, how do you take a traditional manager and really turn them into a coach?
That's a great question, and I'm happy to help. And I hope what I'm sharing here will help trainers and dealer principals across the country turn more managers into coaches. Because here's what it boils down to, right? First off, they've got to see the value in it. Okay, so I can't just walk into a store and be like, okay, Richie, okay, Eric, you're a sales manager. Now you're going to be a coach. They'll just no thanks. No.
Yeah.
So my strategy is to give them effective coaching. And when they experience that, and again, these coaching convos create action plans, which creates, and then we're following up, we're checking in. When we're checking in and we hear that the action plan worked and we're celebrating that success with them, all those little wins, I call them coaching wins. You're measuring those, you're tracking those. Those are direct results that equate to direct results and things like that. So you stack those wins up, and you're asking these people these questions, and they start learning that this is a better way of communicating. This is changing their life, and they see those wins and feel those wins, and then they start coaching their team. Sometimes it takes 2 months, other times, a year in. But if I could share one story, I'll never forget. So a dealer on the East Coast, right in your neck of the woods, the dealer principal had sales training forever. And his sons worked for him. And one of the sons loved the sales trainer. They're like brothers, like they have a good relationship. And he felt like I was encroaching on the trainer's territory. By the way, we coach dealers that have Grant Cardone, Joe Verde, Psychology. We coach training, again, coaching two different
everyone
things.
and everything, yeah.
That's right. So we can, it doesn't matter. But the dealer's son said, I don't need coaching. I want Jonathan to coach me, the sales trainer. And so anyway, fast forward a year later, after dozens, if not, hundreds of coaching wins at his store, he's started, we're coaching every single week. He's sending me recorded convos of his coaching convos, asking me to give him coaching on his coaching. A year later. So, and they had last year they had a record year, several first-time regional finishes, and almost zero employee turnover. So, that again, you go back to the whole oil in the engine thing, right? How long will your car last without oil? Coaching puts the oil in. For your employees, it keeps your employees on the team. Coaching eliminates turnover. Training doesn't necessarily do that. It
also helps improve morale and stuff. Now, I know there are different types of coaching. I believe you guys go by, there's 4 different types of coaching you guys go through?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
So what are those types of coaching, and really how do you feel that they improve a dealership's ROI?
Well, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. So they're all important, okay? But again, I go back to the whole, what is a leader's job to do, right? Add value to their people, make them better, help them get what they want out of their life and their career. So aspirational coaching, that's my 5C3 framework. So we're helping the employee with, it's their agenda, it's their topic, right? Again, leadership in the auto industry, we're always going to our employees and telling them what they need to do, what they should do. Aspirational coaching flips that on its head. And the leader's going to the employee and asking them, how can I serve you? What can I help you achieve? Let me help coach them on that, whatever it is. And so that's number one. So when you use aspirational coaching, it meets all the employee motivation requirements. There's 10 of them, right? There is care, purpose, recognition, mastery, autonomy, growth. I can go on for the 10, but it doesn't matter. Coaching, aspirational coaching meets all those employee motivators, which gets the employee becomes extremely loyal to their leader. Yeah. The second is metric coaching. So we will dive into the CRM metrics for BDC, for sales. We actually will analyze the metrics and give people real and relevant targeted coaching to what they want and need most. Just to cite my favorite example of we had a salesperson double her sales. She's a master certified Mercedes salesperson who's been doing this for about 20 years. And one coaching convo one metric coaching convo by identifying one KPI in her CRM, doubled her sales. It was pretty awesome. Big coaching win there. And then there is observation. I mean, it's just like Little League. If you want to help the Little League baseball player improve their swing, what do you have to do? Got to watch them swing the bat. So we teach managers to give effective observational coaching. Right now, the only real, for the most part, observational coaching happens around desking deals. But what about the meet and greets, right? What about the phone calls? What about the inbound calls, outbound calls? What about the walk around, the demo drive? What about the write up? Who's observing and coaching on those areas? Yeah, 100%. And there's an art to all those. And then last and certainly not least is turnaround coaching. I think. I mean, most are one of two sides. They either let people go way too quick or they hold on to them way too long. I was more on that side of it before coaching. And what turnaround coaching does is, I mean, imagine this, guys. Imagine if every single underperformer at your dealership, let's say within 30 days, over 60% of them was performing and exceeding expectations, and then the other 38% were gone because it wasn't a good fit, and that ended on great terms. So that's what turnaround coaching does. Helps you keep the right people on the team, get the wrong people off the team, and make sure that everyone's performing at the level they need to. So those are the 4 types of coaching that we conduct and we teach our dealers to leverage.
So, you hit almost every different type. And like I said, I'm learning myself now. I still can't, I still find myself going into, you're going to do this type thing. And I'm learning that coaching does get you further. So the one thing I did like that you said is I'm very analytical, metric based and everything else. So even something, as simple as we were coaching our sales staff in my dealership on new car closing percentages. So what we did was we just started writing how many ups they've had along with however many deals they wrote. Forget about even deliver, just wrote. And we started posting on a board and just not saying anything about it. We used to just write it. And it was funny because, the psychological standpoint, anyone who was above 40%, we'd write everything in green. Anyone who was below 40%, we'd write in red. And we never said anything to these people until they would come to us. So it's funny. So out of 15 sales reps, we had, I think it was like 5 or 6 every day for like a 2-week span. We were doing a 2-week chart that were always in red. I did it yesterday. I think there was only one person who was under 40%. And that was a new sales rep at 38% closing, which isn't bad at all. And it's funny, we started having the sales reps come to us and say, how do I improve my numbers? What can I do differently? Where do you see me? Or what can I say differently? So I think the metric training and stuff like that, I think that's phenomenal how you guys dive into everything. And
you had asked earlier, like, hey, I'd like to kind of retouch on that question too. How do you turn managers into coaches? So number one, and that's for anyone, man. If you want to learn to coach, hire yourself an awesome coach. That'll learn those skills. But also, I will share that Car Motivators, we have a 12-week masterclass program. Everyone that enters in will learn the difference between training and coaching, the barriers to effective coaching. Without knowing that, you can't coach. Not effectively, anyways. You'll learn how to conduct the 4 types of coaching, and then by the end of the 12 weeks, you'll be a Drive C3. You're going to be Drive C3 trained. It's not Drive C3 certified because you have to put in hundreds of coaching hours, documented, measured to get that. But just so you know, we have a 12-week master class and small groups, and it's extremely effective. People are loving that.
I think that's awesome. I definitely want to take a look at that.
Let me just ask a question. So when you're dealing with computers, right, you always want to hire yourself a computer science guy, right? So when you're dealing with people, because let's talk about a lot of things that click people, egos, they got habits, they got this, especially in our business. Do you have in your team a psychologist?
Great question. No, we don't have a psychologist. Here's the principle that my coaches operate on, Richie, and that's a great question. We find out what people want to accomplish, and then we try to help them get it. All right, and then what they want most, is it aligned to what the dealership wants most? If not, we try to figure out a way to make that happen. So it's the universal principle of WIFM, right? You have got to understand what's in it for me, because I'm not going to buy in, right? And then if I see that you're trying to help me get what I want, and that's your only agenda, I'm going to buy into that, and I'm going to be a part of that journey. Versus going into a dealer saying, you need to be doing this, you should be selling more cars. It's a different approach. That's all it is. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because you know what, you're right. But here's what I do, right? I do an assessment with you, right? You tell me what you want and all this. And then I watch your behavior. But not only do I watch it, I have a team. I got a few guys that are psychologists in our team. So when we do an assessment, we watch the behavior. Because somebody can tell you what their agenda is, right? They just might be telling you that because they would like that, right? So now you watch behavior, right? How they're behaving to what they told you. And then you make an assessment with them. And that's why I say psychologists, because you're dealing with left brain, right brain people. Some people know how to use both, okay? And you're dealing with salespeople. Okay, you're dealing with people that what they do for a living is sell you, right? So, and that's what you're dealing with. So it's a very gray area when you deal with that, because you got to watch behavior, because behavior really says, like, it's not about the question, it's about the answer, right? And it's how they came up with that answer. Did they perceive that you said something and now the real answer comes out, or an answer that is not all there, that it's not black and white, it's gray? And the problem with sales is really gray. When you go to fix operation, it's gray. It's black and white. So now you know, right? That's it. But when it comes to sales, you don't know. So that's why I reference that too. Just a little bit about me. I worked for R.O. Polk, and one of my mentors was Dr. John Minarchik, which is a tremendous psychologist in the car business. Okay, and we had a whole team of that, and it's really, really about that a lot, because that's how you really funnel out a lot of things. And R.O. Polk, it was a brand name. Today it's IHS. We had Polk Professional Services there, and what we had was consulting and training, right? So, but we looked at a lot of behavior because we were in the intel business. So the behavior is key. It's just like when you go to the military and they put you in the classroom and they see their 30 days with you, bonding with you and watching your behavior on what they're doing. And now there's data's coming back as far as an assessment is coming back, and knowing where to put them. The last thing you want is you want to put a hothead where there's actually a problem with a war, because he's going to be dead, right? So so that's what I'm trying to say. That's all. I agree. You have a very good process.
You know,
Well, we do. When you mentioned psychology, Richie, I'm glad you brought that. So it's funny because I was actually in the Army. I was in psychological operations. So my job was to persuade a target audience to help meet national U.S. or supported unit objectives, create information campaigns and all, and communicate with the target audience, right? Now my company leverages, we'll purchase personality styles or Gallup strengths assessments, right, for leadership stuff. So we leverage, and then we have our own created survey, employee motivation survey. We call it Inspired Satisfaction. But we don't have any psychologists. But the interesting part about, I want to throw out there when it comes to, I guess a salesperson trying to sell the trainer or the coach, with coaching, it's never our agenda. So when I ask a salesperson, hey, what do you want to focus on today? Or ask a sales manager, what goal can we help you achieve today through coaching? It's their topic. And then I say, okay, what are your challenges? We're going to start digging in, right, and asking them the questions. But they know that we don't have an agenda. We're not trying to force them to do, we're never going to tell someone to do something to do. So at the end of the day, now we'll report on whatever the plans are, so the leadership knows if the action is aligned to the dealership's objectives. But there's no need to sell a coach, because we don't have an agenda. We're here to help you where you want to need it most.
But the beautiful thing about a coach, there is an agenda with a coach. The agenda with a coach, I think, is make that person as successful as you possibly can, as successful as they let you make them, right? So that's really the only agenda that a coach should have, is about making you successful, right? That's it. That's the only agenda, Stay behind the scene and make somebody as successful as they want to be. You're only as good as the data that's being provided to you, right? But if you had a product that you knew coming in where you were at, I believe that you're able to coach that person a lot better if you had the data, right?
No doubt. That's why the metric data is so important. And what I liked what Eric was saying earlier, because there are a lot of people look at CRM metrics. Oh, that's not accurate, right? And then they'll discount the whole thing, throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it's so important that a coach helps them see value in the data and learn to leverage the data that's there. Because the bottom line is this, what's the benchmark? Well, whatever that person wants to be at, right? So coaching on the metrics creates the action plan, and the metric grows. So what if it's off by 20% when you started? If it's 20% better later than what you started, right? You still improved. You got better.
100%. we've had a lot of good conversations today about coaching, how to really, what the difference between a manager is and a coach. I definitely want to continue this conversation on another episode because I had one last question for you, but I actually I think it would turn into a whole nother episode if we go into it now, which is, stay tuned because we'll have you back on in another couple weeks on what creates a winning culture in a dealership. So think about that one for the next time we have you on. I do want to thank you for coming on today. I know you got to run and we're tight for time at the end. Guys, take a look at Sean's website. What's your website that they can reach you at? It's what, carmotivators.com?
www.carmotivators.com. I'd love to have you guys check it out. And if I can help you, if you're interested in mastering the language of coaching, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to support you guys.
We're very interested. You know what, Sean? We're very interested in you. That's why I brought you to the show. Let's have a follow-up call. I'm going to Orlando to this 30-car.
Mr. Fran Taylor's 30-car.
So here I'm going to announce it. Any student that buys one ticket is going to get one ticket at me. But sure, let's have a follow-up after I come back from Florida because we're very interested. Gene's very interested, and our team's very interested. Thank you so much.
Well, listen, we appreciate you on the show. Guys, let's take a look at the clip for Mr. Fran Taylor's upcoming event.
All right. What's up, gang? Brian Maxwell checking in. And I want to point out, I was introduced to this individual by Richie Bello, a good friend of mine by the name of Fran Taylor, who does world-class automotive sales training workshops. And I have to tell you, Fran's awesome world-class training techniques helps dealers and managers save make millions of dollars by not being a slave to advertising, teaching their salespeople how to prospect like pros, teaching green peas all the way up to experienced veteran salespeople how to sell 30 units a month. As a matter of fact, Fran has an awesome event coming up in Orlando, Florida on January the 15th. So if you're looking to get your salespeople up to selling 30 units a month, if you're looking to take your dealership to another level, or if you yourself as the sales rep want to increase your production, I highly encourage you to check out Fran Taylor's world-class training at the event in Orlando, Florida on January the 15th. I'm Brian Maxwell, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you at the event. Over and out.